guys, welcome. This is a general reading for the full moon in Gemini. So it's good for all signs. It is date and time specific. We have the full moon occurring at, I want to say, 11:08 p.m. Eastern time on the 7th. So just a few hours from now, after I get this recording uploaded, it'll only be a few hours. It will likely be the 8th for those of you across the pond and other places around the globe, so do check your local listings. But it's the last full moon of the year, and wow, what a year it has been. We have Mars retrograde right now at the same degree, so it's interesting that as we have the full moon coming into position at 16 degrees of Gemini, we've got Mars going retrograde in the same sign and at the same degree. So there's almost this eclipse-like energy between the full moon and Mars. And, with Mars retrograde, that generates some delays because Mars will be drawing on more of our unconscious awareness. In opposition to the Sun in Sagittarius, which is all systems go and ruled by Jupiter and the Great Expander, the moon is ruled by Gemini by Mercury. So it's about confusion with our ideas, with our choices, and with Mars being retrograde, it can be sticky. And all I want to say is everything that you're going to be processing and releasing during this full moon, have patience, because you may not see the results of any of it until Mars goes direct in mid-January, until some other planets change signs. We have Jupiter finally at the last degree of Pisces, moving back into Aries, station direct. Neptune is now direct in Pisces. So we do have some shifts coming up, but it's almost like, and I've been saying it in some of the other readings, it's like the Indiana Jones boulder. It's going to pick up the pace and the momentum, and then it'll be all systems go by the time we get into mid-January, toward the end of the month of January. So I just want to say that. If there was such a thing as higher truth, Sagittarius discovered it. It was invented by Sagittarius. So in a full moon that's in the opposite sign, right? There's tension with oppositions. We have to release our lower truths. We have to release all the ways our thinking mind plays tricks on us or inhibits our ability to expand into all that we could possibly be. So I'm sort of seeing this full moon in Gemini as illuminating those lower truths. And it's been showing up in the readings I've done, just the few that I've done for this new series of the zodiac readings I do. And so I wanted to give you a visual of that, right? We have the lower octave of Sagittarius in the Knight of Wands, kind of acting on impulse. The lower octave of Gemini here in the Knight of Swords. Both these cards, fast-moving energies. Sometimes this gets out over its skis, speaks without thinking, can often speak in anger. This is about, showing up uninvited, unannounced, not really having a plan. So it kind of all falls apart. The in and out of it all, as I like to say. Here are the higher octaves. This is the higher octave of Sagittarius. What do we see in Temperance? Self-control and restraint. And patience. Okay? And then this is what we see in the higher octave of Gemini, the Lovers. The coming together of divine masculine and feminine energy. Sometimes we're just coming home to ourselves in the balancing of those energies. So I'm just showing that to you because I thought it was important, and then I want to give you the ultimate reminder of Mars retrograde in Gemini. Boom. What is no longer sustainable? What isn't going to come with us into 2023? What doesn't have a leg to stand on anymore? Now, you're not being asked to make a hasty decision. It is a choice, and we have to come upon it as we release the lower vibration, the lower octave of our lower truths. And then we've got Jupiter moving from Pisces into Aries at that final degree that is actually referred to as the birth canal of the zodiac, moving out of the last degree of Pisces, which is all potential, and we can't take form. We can't be birthed into form until we have potential, right? The spark. So moving from that last degree of mastery in Pisces and then into Aries where everything starts to be created. into form. So I'm just showing you these powerful cards representing this final full moon, and the role Mars and Jupiter are playing. I know. It's big. It's powerful. So what I want to invite you to do is don't fall prey to the lower truths and to the impulsivity. I wrote down a little something that I thought I would say. When it comes to Gemini, that's what I wanted to do. Remember that words can be weapons. Okay? Words can be weapons. So you want to use them wisely, obviously. Inner and outer conflicts can come up, or misunderstandings can easily happen. So draw on that higher octave of Sagittarius, all of the Temperance card here. Self-control and restraint are the watchword, and patience will be your friend. And also beware of overreactivity or quick-tempered energy and or snap decisions. Be patient with yourself and the choices you know you have to make. Release all the fluff and the temper and the impulsivity, and let Mars and Jupiter do their thing. Okay, and I think when we move into 2023, once we get past mid to the end of January, it's like I've been saying, the Rubik's Cube will snap into place. That moment where we hear all, in a tumbler lock, where you hear click, 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 and then the lock opens up. That's what I'm using as a metaphor for what we can expect as we move into 2023. Okay, so that's your little full moon in Gemini spiel today. I'm going to pull from Queen of the Moon Oracle. So that was the intro. This is now the Oracle. Let's see. I've been looking in the readings at where we've been, where we are, where we're headed. I always do that for the new and full moons. So I'm going to continue that little pattern right now. Whoo. Where we've been, where we are, where we're headed. Wow. Okay. Almost feels to me like it could be in reverse. This is card 38. 3 and 8 is 11. Talking about abundance. So we've been focused on that Jupiter energy, that expansion and abundance, and where we understand that there's no time for scarcity mindset. Some of the lower truths we tell ourselves, that we're not enough, or that there's not enough for us. There's plenty. Where we are right now, we are stepping into our power. 1 and 6 is 7. Powerful spiritual energy. Full moon. Power. No surprise that card comes up for where we are right now. So we are drawing off the power of this full moon. Where are we headed? Another 7. Card 34. Hot moon. Extremes. Okay, so when we get into 2023, the extremes might be in terms of what is no longer sustainable that we absolutely cannot bring with us. The extreme of it, right? The extremes of it all. Meaning a lot of things have been tolerated in 2022 that we're not going to be able to tolerate moving forward. We're going to have to cut things loose and let things go and find in that some semblance of equilibrium and stasis and balance, because the extremes, that's what we're going to be faced with. And I think things are going to become real clear and real evident, so don't get too riled up about this. Like, don't live in fear of it. It's like we've tolerated so much, and now it's going to be pointed out that we can't live in the anger. We can't live in the hot and cold of it all, the in and out of it all, the on and off of it all. So I do feel like even though that card may make you bristle, it's not what's going to happen. It's what we may be forced to face and deal with and rid ourselves of. Okay. So moving into the reading, let's just go ahead and get something going here to see for this full moon in Gemini. What's coming through for our connections? 10 of Wands, yes, absolute release, right? This is the offloading of that which has been a burden, of something we've been carrying for way too long. In the challenge position, 8 of Swords, absolutely, where we've been stuck, feeling sort of the second guessing, self-doubt, overthinking things, that sort of paralysis of analysis. Very Gemini energy there, by the way. So we don't want to stay in paralysis of analysis. We want to offload things. We want to kind of release. That's a big part of the full moon. Queen of Wands in our unconscious awareness. That's it. There's the power. Rising up, feeling our worth and our power. And in the past, we've got the Two of Swords. Right. This has been that moment. It's been this whole past year has been about sort of coming to that crossroads moment, going within to get clear about the meaning and the purpose of the decision that we have to make, the choice we have to make. And here we are at that moment now where a choice has to be made. We've been kind of blinded by whatever confusion, overthinking the choices, giving things too much time, tolerating too many extremes. And now we've got conscious awareness as the high priestess operating. There's Pisces right there. Jupiter in that last degree is basically this card saying, yes, you can trust your instincts, your intuition, your inner knowing. Everything now can dissolve and you can be born into something new. As soon as Jupiter moves into Aries, all that force of energy comes with it. Trust your intuition. It feels to me like the mastery degree that I just described. It's the highest version of your connection to the divine, of your awareness, of your own divinity. Really beautiful. And then we've got going forward here, King of Pentacles. Because it's what we want. Someone that shows up for us in 3D. Potential life partner. Very interesting. So I'm just going to do this abbreviated version. In the extended, I'm doing, to kick it off, a yes-no spread. So we'll look at the extremes, which is like separation, reunion. I'll do a yes-no spread for how that's going to turn out. And then I'll go around the zodiac, Aries through Pisces, and do mini spreads for each of the signs, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. So that's why I'm just doing an abbreviated reading right here. 10 of Wands with the 8 of Swords. 10 of Pentacles, 7 of Pentacles, the World. Yeah, I feel like you've been waiting a long time in consideration of possible life partnership, or at least a relationship that could go the distance. You've been waiting quite a while. 7 of Pentacles, doing everything to kind of let it unfold organically. The World comes in and it's endings and new beginnings. So I kind of feel like you're wrapping up a cycle here where you've had a lot of questions. You've felt really stuck or stagnant. That's sort of what's happening for this full moon, is you're coming to terms with the fact that this is the close of a cycle. This is the potential shift from one energetic experience to another, where you kind of release something that's been weighing you down and holding you back, and you open yourself up and move forward to something new. So let's look at the Queen of Wands, right? Because here's the new beginning. In your power, your own little personal inner magician rising up. The moon, it's scary. Strength and the Knight of Wands. Okay, so it's almost like I hear you saying, okay, but what if they come back? I don't know if I'm strong enough to overcome that. So Queen of Wands, in your power, yes, the moon, but there are things you don't know. There are things you can't see. It sort of triggers our insecurities, our apprehensions. Overcoming the fear. Well, what happens if they come back? Well, what happens if they come back? You'll cross that bridge when you get to it. So I'm feeling like this Knight of Wands has been this lower vibration, this lower octave of the Sagittarian energy. How perfect is that, that's what comes through? And this is what you really want to focus on for Sagittarius, is that Jupiter energy of expansion and growth and abundance. So we're not going to worry about it to the point where it would keep us stuck. 8 of Swords. 2 of Swords in the past. Empress, absolutely. There's the Tower, Hierophant. Wow, 3 major arcana on this. It has been quite a powerful year. Lots of shifts. This is that moment where we've been sort of coming to terms with the fact that we know who we are and what we want. From the highest vibration of divine feminine energy, unconditional love, always beginning with ourselves, what's no longer sustainable, and how to remain true to ourselves. So I sort of feel like in the past, this has been the dilemma, is not seeing the purpose or our purpose as clearly as maybe someone else might, or maybe as we saw the connection's purpose. So this is about, well, what does conventional committed relationship look like to me? What does it mean? What's the value? What value do I place on it? And what is presently happening that is no longer sustainable? And wow, that can be very eye-opening. And I have a feeling like the confusion that's been existing, the lack of clarity, is coming in now loud and clear. But it's coming in softer and gentler and more intuitively. High Priestess in our conscious awareness. Whew. For some of you, feeling like you haven't been dealt with fairly or honestly, especially by Divine Masculine. Here's the connection, the Two of Cups. There's the Emperor. We already had the Empress in the past. So now what does your intuition tell you about this person? Do they avoid you? Are they honest with you? Are they honest with themselves? Is this somebody who just kind of takes what works for them and then splits, right? Are we still dealing with this in and out energy of the Knight of Wands? Is it something that you are always feeling like you're being duped or played or deceived? Yep. Operating on your intuition about that. And I love that we have the Two of Cups underneath, because it is about partnership. And there is that energy of, well, if there's love here, how do I give that the attention without sort of treating myself as subservient to the connection, right? Where I have to kind of put myself last. And because I want this connection, I have to tolerate something that feels very unjust, unfair, deceptive, avoidant, lacking the truth that you need to make the decision. The Two of Swords, it's been a problem. And if somebody's giving you the runaround and gaslighting you even on some occasions, that might be possible. How do we get to where we put ourselves above the connection? And that's what I see happening with this Queen of Wands and unconscious awareness. And that's the scary part, because what if they return? Well, if they return, are they coming back to stay? King of Pentacles, looking forward. Justice, Five of Cups, Four of Wands. So for some of you, they absolutely could come back to stay. For some of you, there will be the regrets and the acceptance of accountability and responsibility. There's the Four of Wands, the 1111 card, twin flame energy here. But the Five of Cups feels to me like there's a possibility for many of you that this person may come back and take some measure of accountability and express their regret. Their regret for not being upfront or not being truthful or not being available, not having your back. For others of you, it could be your own regret that something is just very out of balance and that it's time to let it go. So I'm not seeing that as strongly as I'm seeing the potential of your person showing up in 3D, taking responsibility, taking accountability, restoring a sense of balance and fairness, expressing their regret to how things have not been really fair to you. So that kind of looks good. And that leads right into what I'm going to do in the extended with the yes or no question, and then go around the zodiac and work through it. So I love that we have this power card here, is where we are presently, moving forward, the extremes. How do we deal with it? How do we put ourselves first? To the point, well, I'm not saying put yourself first and, you know, be bishy about it. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, have we taken the back seat enough? Have we relegated ourselves to secondary status long enough in these connections? Have we relegated ourselves to secondary status long enough in these connections? Have we relegated ourselves to secondary status long enough in these connections? Have we relegated ourselves to secondary status long enough in these connections? Have we relegated ourselves to secondary status long enough in these connections? Have we relegated ourselves to secondary status long enough in these connections? Have we relegated ourselves to secondary status long enough in these connections? Have we relegated ourselves to secondary status long enough in these connections? Have we relegated ourselves to secondary status long enough in these connections? Have we relegated ourselves to secondary status long enough in these connections? Have we relegated ourselves to secondary status long enough in these connections? Have we relegated ourselves to secondary status long enough in these connections? Have we relegated ourselves to secondary status long enough in these connections? to the point where the connection is all that mattered, and what our needs are, or what our truths are, our higher truths are, have kind of fallen by the wayside. And I think that's the extremes that we're going to be settling up in 2023. I'm kind of excited about that. So the link to the extended is below. I'll see you for an examination of separation continuing or reunion possible, yes or no, and then I'll go around the zodiac. We'll do some mini readings. That link is below. Otherwise, full moon blessings to all, guys. I love you for this last full moon of the year. Happy, happy blessings to all. Bye for now.